Hi there, I am Mr. Articulate. Thanks for clicking on this video. I make and upload a video to YouTube every day of between 5 and 10 minutes length where I talk about various topics, and my long-term goal is to develop the skills while making these videos that I will need to become a more articulate person in my day-to-day life. So today what I want to talk about is pretty much a personal problem of mine, and that is the fact that I find it really hard to take actions in the present that will help me in the future until I have a deadline that is staring me right in the face. In the current case, the reason this is on my mind at the moment is I am a father to a 21-month-old girl, and in about a month, my wife and I are going to have our second child. And there are a lot of things that parents need to do in preparation for having a second child, both in the domestic realm and also the professional realm if the parents have jobs. And I just haven't done any of the things I need to do yet. And when you're only a month out from the due date for your child, you don't actually know if you do have a month left. You might have a day left. Labor could come anytime, or there could be a sudden turn in my wife's health that at any time that could lead to a C-section happening right away, and there's no predicting it. So I am in a little, I kind of got scared the other day about this. I was talking with another member of my family who basically just reminded me that my wife could have this child anytime, and it twisted up my stomach. It made me really nervous. So my wife and I, we brainstormed, we made a whole list of all the things that we need to do on the domestic front to be ready for our second child. And to be clear, if I get home in a few minutes and my wife is having contractions, we'll be okay. It's nothing that's a terrible emergency, but there's just a bunch of things that we would like to have done in advance of our child's birth. And so we made the list. This weekend upcoming should give us a really good chance to start crossing things off that list, and that's great. So what that really leaves me concerned with is the professional side of this equation. I am going to go out on parental leave for a month when my child is born, and that means that a couple of my colleagues are going to have to step in and start doing all the work that I would normally be doing for a whole month. And in the job I have, the pretty big chunk of the work I do is work that only I do. There's other people who know how to do it, but most of my work is not a common bucket of work where my colleagues and I are all kind of reaching into the bucket and taking out bits and pieces to do. Most of it is siloed to me. And so since I have total responsibility for what I'm doing day to day right now, it's completely on me to have all the balls that are currently in the air totally mapped out for the people who will be taking over for me in my absence. And there's just a lot of work I have to do to get that done so that I can hand this off to my colleagues and feel good about it, feel good about the position I'm leaving them in. And I know myself, and I know that I'm gonna struggle the rest of this work week to start taking the steps that I need to take to get everything in order at work for the month off. And again, if I have a whole month still to go, that's plenty of time, but I don't know that I do have a month. I hope it's not a day or two, but it could be a week or two left before my child is born, and yet I am incapable of acting like that. I'm typically only capable of kicking something like this into high gear at the point that I do definitely only have a week or two left. if we get another 2 to 3 weeks into the future and my wife still hasn't delivered, at that point, I don't know what chemical it is in the brain, cortisol maybe, that sends us into hyperdrive in a stressful situation and makes us lock down and do all the things we need to do in a difficult situation to come out okay on the other side. But at that point, say it's cortisol, 2 to 3 weeks from now, I will go in one day and I will get a big cortisol hit telling me, oh gosh, I have just a few more work days left to get everything in order, and I'll do it. But as I sit here now, I know for a fact that it's possible that I only do have a few work days left. But since I don't know that for sure, that cortisol dump is not happening. And that's tough. It's not something I'm happy about for sure. I just want to be a man who takes care of his business and in a timely way, on the timeline that I ought to do it, and not because the logical times and dates to have done a thing I've blown by them all, and suddenly I am in a situation where I quite literally have to start doing a thing, or it will be too late and it will bring me to a disaster, small or large. The thing I just described, the way I am, is not the man I want to be. I just want to be a responsible man who does what he ought to do when he ought to do it. And for me, I'm always praying to God for help with that. And I have gotten help from God already. I am a less irresponsible man now than I was a year ago. And hard as it is to believe, even the me of a year ago was still less irresponsible than the man from the year before that. So progress is happening. Thank God for it. Thank him and praise him. But it's a funny thing when you're praying for God to help you to be a better person in this or that part of your life, because the heavy lifting comes from him, no doubt, but experientially, it still has to seem to us like we are making some moves ourselves along the way, even if those moves are inspired by God, and even if when we make them, the moves, we only are doing so with strength that comes from God, so that really he's giving us all the tools. We still, if I may make an analogy, it's almost like those meal delivery services. Like my wife and I have done Purple Carrot in the past. I'm trying to remember, I can't remember the names of any of the big famous meal delivery services. HelloFresh, that's one the podcasts are always advertising, but it's almost like a HelloFresh thing. Even if they are sending you all the ingredients you need, portioned out properly, and they've chosen the meals for you, they have given you the ingredient lists and all that, so they've really done all the heavy lifting for you. You do then need to take all the work they did for you and carry it the last 5 yards into the end zone, as it were, by going into the kitchen and cooking it. It's kind of like that when you're praying to God for help with improving the parts of your life that are bad. Even if it's 90% him, and even if really, truly, it's 100% him, in an experiential way, we still have to feel like we've done something ourselves. We still have to feel like we've cooked with the ingredients in the cooking directions that God has given us. And so in that sense, I don't know what thoughts that I should be having right now, what approaches I should take, what words of prayer I should say to help me just keep getting better with this, because it's just no good. It's no good that I have at most 1 month left at work, but conceivably only a few more days at work, and yet I am afraid that I am not going to be able to do anything until I have for certain only a few days left. Because if my wife goes full term, well, I guess it'll all work out okay in that way. But if she does anything less than full term, I might really be stuck in a bad situation. And I don't want that. I don't want to feel like crap if that happens. I don't want to just feel bad about myself and just be putting myself down, and I just be hanging my head in disappointment. And I also, of course, I don't want to leave my coworkers in the lurch because I don't want them to be stressed. And I also don't want them to think less of me. Above all, I don't want my boss to think less of me, because that's its own stressful thing to imagine. So I just hope I have a great few days at work, and I'm finding time each day to prepare for while I'm out. And maybe that's a part of it. Maybe it's in my 8-hour work days, right? 7.5 hours, really, because of my 30-minute lunch break. But so in my 7.5 hours of work each day, can I just set aside 20 to 30 minutes each day for several days in a row to work on the preparedness plan for when I'm out, so that if I go out 7 days from now, I will have put in several hours of prep and will be in okay shape. I think that's a great approach. I think that will be what I try to do here, is starting tomorrow, even though I was off work. It's the middle of a work week right now, and I was off today for childcare reasons. So I'm going to be coming back with a ton of emails and all of that stuff. And there's a couple special projects that I know there's going to be a lot of time demands tomorrow and Thursday. But can I still just set aside 20 to 30 minutes each day for this preparedness? And that's part of my problem for sure, is that my mind plays tricks on me. And when it comes to the day and I propose to myself, set 20 minutes aside to work on something that's not due tomorrow or the day after, but is due potentially in weeks from now, my brain tells me that I don't have time for that because there's some other thing that is due within a day or two. And until I'm done with that, I can't do a long-term thing. And I know that's not true as I sit here saying it, but that's one of those amazing things with the brain, is that you can know something's not true, but then you get in a certain mind state and the thing that you knew wasn't true suddenly feels true to you. And even though we, on a meta level, knew that would happen and knew it would be a wrong thought, we're powerless to resist it in the moment. Like I said, I mean, the human brain, so weird sometimes. maybe more than sometimes, maybe most of the time. But it won't be true that I can't afford 20 minutes. Gosh, 20 minutes is nothing. 20 minutes of preparedness work tomorrow, day after that, day after that. That'll take me into my weekend. I should be able to do that and let my mind not play tricks on me, and a prayer here on camera, but to my God, please help me to realize, to achieve this small plan that I have for myself. My Lord, with your help, I can do anything, and I know that I can do this. And let me be open to your influence when I need it these next 3 days, and let me be humble, and let me be trusting in you. Amen. So thanks for watching to the end of this video. If you did stick around this long, I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, wherever you are, whenever you are, and I will see you next time.